Welcome, amazing realtors and investors and real estate agents nationwide. Today is Wednesday, August 5th, 2020, and this is role play number 57. Appreciate y'all being here today. We have one person in the queue. We have plenty of room for more. Chad and Bruce, you want to say anything before we get started?
I just do want to remind, we now have kind of a blend of listeners. So if you're listening to this on a podcast platform and you're not familiar with our Facebook community, be sure and check out All the Leads Mastermind on Facebook. It's a group of about 10,000 of us that have been carefully curated and filtered. So it's, people who are trying to get this right the same as you are. So a lot of times between these calls happen the first Wednesday of each month, unless holidays or weather or travel schedules interfere. But you have one of these per month. If you want to be, if you want more practice, if you'd like to sharpen your accent on a more frequent basis, there's a lot of little subscriber role play groups that happen within All the Leads Mastermind. So if you go to Facebook, search All the Leads Mastermind, join the group, and then use the search bar, if it's on mobile at the top or on desktop on the left, type in role play, and you'll see where our subscribers put together their own small role play groups. And sometimes there's 4, sometimes 6, sometimes they're on Zoom, sometimes on a conference line. But if you have an appetite for more of this and to sharpen your skills, you don't always have to wait for the next month for us to release this or to come participate. You can always role play with your peers, and the easiest way to find them is in All the Leads Mastermind Facebook group.
Bruce, anything you want to say before we start?
No, I couldn't have said it better than either one of you guys.
Well, I did forget something. So for those of you who are listening that are currently All the Leads subscribers, professional real estate coaching is something that's part of your subscription. Bruce coaches at $1,000 an hour and up, but that's something that we provide for you guys because we want to make sure that we're setting you up for success. So if you are a subscriber, you can also jump on Bruce's calendar and role play directly with the coach. If you don't want to do it in a group or you can't find the time slot, if you need any kind of help between these calls or between our Thursday calls, you can look in your subscriber portal under education, and you can book a coaching call directly with Bruce right there.
And that's not $1,000.
Exactly.
All right, 7679, you're up first.
Hi, this is Mike from Florida. So
hey, Mike.
I'm just getting started and just working on nailing my calls.
Anything in particular you want to work on, or any scenarios, or just a typical inbound or outbound call?
Just I guess typical outbound, because I don't have enough calls in to kind of have a typical objection, I guess.
Okay. And do you want to play the role of the real estate professional or as the personal representative? Would you rather us critique you, or would you rather hear how we do it?
I'd rather do it so I get the practice because I think that's what I need.
Okay.
Good
Bruce,
job.
you wanna do this one?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Remind me what you said your name was real quick.
Mike.
Mike. Okay, perfect. Mike, you can start with a ring, and I'll answer.
Ring.
Hello?
Hi, I was trying to reach Bruce.
Yeah, this is Bruce. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Bruce. Yeah, this is Mike, and I was calling because I had sent you a letter last week. Did you happen to receive that?
Yeah, maybe. I don't recognize. I get a lot of mail.
Well, this one was a letter that was in a greeting card envelope, and it was in reference to the probate estate of Tom.
Oh, yeah, I got a handful of those. You said this is
okay.
This is Mike. You said?
Yeah. And I put
Okay.
my business card in there and everything, so you should have
Okay.
gotten that. But anyway, the reason why I'm contacting you, and it's better to do the conversation in person because, letters, everybody gets them, everybody throws them away. But what I've done is put together a team of professionals here in the county that can help people that are handling probates like you're handling yourself. So I want to kind of ask you what the toughest part of doing the case has been so far for you and your family.
Mike, it really hadn't been tough. We just got started, and honestly, I think we got most of it handled so far.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's what I hear a lot of families say, and honestly, it can be, done easily, or it can be a nightmare. I'm here to kind of be a resource for you and your family. One of the things that we've seen people struggle with is, and the attorneys are good. Have you got a good probate attorney?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, our attorney, I'm not sure we're really going to need any help. Our attorney's kind of gotten it all handled. He told us to wait until we were done with probate.
Okay. Did he, and I don't know if there's any real estate involved in your particular case, but if there is, did he mention that most homeowners insurances don't cover vacant properties?
No, but I've got insurance. We're covered.
Gotcha. Yeah, but I haven't come across a homeowner's policy yet that will cover a vacant property. And is that the situation that you happen to be in?
What? Yeah. The house. We've got 2 houses that are vacant right now. I think we're covered though. I'm pretty sure we're good. Are you in insurance?
No, but through helping families in probate, you come across this constantly. And it's a little insurance company trick where they write, I don't know if it's a trick, but they write in, the fine print, just basically that they're not going to cover anything that's not occupied. Because without a person in the property, it's obviously, it's a different category of liability for the company. So you have to modify your insurance coverage, and we've got companies that do that. They can get you set up today. In fact, I can give you.
I don't know, Mike. I can call my insurance agent. I think.
Yeah, sure.
I might give.
No,
her
absolutely.
A call. Yeah.
That's just an example of some of the services that we help families with.
You do more than that?
Absolutely, yeah. So you say there's 2 vacant homes. Have you got them all cleaned out of the personal property and things that the family, after they go through and get their things?
Yeah, my cousins are going to come up in a couple of weeks, and they're going to help me with that. So we're going to have that handled.
Yeah. Well, typically what I've found is that, after the family goes through everything, then there tends to be just random stuff that nobody wants. And what I help families with is matching them with companies that will come in and either get that stuff marked for donation and just cleaned out so that, you can move on with the real estate and do, whatever you're going to do with it, either sell it or lease it or however you want to do that. I mean, have you guys started having those kinds of conversations?
No. I mean, other than the fact that my cousins are coming up to help with the house.
Yeah. And I guess that's my bigger point.
Keep a bunch of it. But
Sure.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. No, that's part of my bigger point is that I put all these professionals together as a team to help you, and I want to sit down with you guys and kind of come up with a plan for everything, so that it's way less on your plate to deal with. So, I mean, I've got a couple of appointments open this week. Is there a better day for you? I mean, I'm looking at Friday or Saturday. I've got a couple openings.
How much is this going to cost?
It doesn't cost you anything. It's just a, eventually when I deliver everything that we've agreed to, then we can come up with a solution for me. I don't come into this asking for a penny. I just want to provide service, and then that'll naturally happen after I've provided all the service.
So you'll
Does that
come
sound
over
like
and clean
something
the house
that we
out?
can sit down and talk about?
I'm interested in hearing a little bit more. But so you'll come in, you'll clean the house out, and not charge anything?
No, I mean that's not what I've got. Vetted partners, that companies that I've worked with over and over again that I know will do you guys a great service, and contractors and everything else that you guys could possibly need. And that's why I want to meet with you, and we can kind of go through, everything that you guys may need in this process, just to get you through everything.
Okay.
And then, like I said, there's no obligation. It's just a consultation, and I can show you everything that we can do for you. So, if you have 15 or 20 minutes. I'm sorry?
What is it that you do then?
I'm a realtor, but that a lot of times never comes up, and sometimes it does.
Okay.
That's just the conversation we need to have to figure out how you guys want to proceed.
Okay. I don't know if we're going to sell the houses or not yet. We hadn't talked about that.
Sure.
But if you want
to
help me clean out the house for free, then okay. Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to help you clean the house for free, but I'm going to help you get yourselves into position where you can move through this process.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying, Bruce?
Yeah, I think so. I guess if we're missing something, we could take a look at it. But I thought we kind of had everything handled pretty well so far.
Well, sure. But let me ask you a question. Have you posted the properties as far as putting no trespassing signs and the statute up in the window? Because that's a step a lot of people miss at the beginning. So what can happen there is a squatter could come in, and then you're going to be fighting a big battle legally. And it's just a simple thing that you can do is put up a no trespassing sign. So what I'm saying is I've walked through this path before, and that's why I want to help your family. At the end of the day, if you have a property to lease, I've got property management companies I can hook you up with. There's 1,000 different solutions. That's why I really just want to, meet with you, the family, and all the decision makers, and we kind of work together and get a solution that fits your guys' situation. Does that sound fair?
Well, yeah, that's fair. My cousins are coming up into town in a couple of weeks. Could we just do it then?
Are they? Yeah, it sounds like they're pretty important decision makers in the family. Then, yeah, I definitely want to get everybody at the same table and kind of go through it all at one time. When would that be?
They're coming up on Thursday in 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, I can set the tentative appointment for Thursday at 6:30, and would that work? We can all meet.
Yeah, I'll talk to them, but I think that'd work.
Okay.
Give me a call back in a couple of in maybe 10 days or so, and I'll let you know if we can meet on Thursday.
All right. So I'm going to put you in the calendar, and then I'll give you a reminder call ahead of time, and if not, we'll just meet Thursday at 6:30 with everybody and try to get a plan pulled together. In the meantime, the kind of critical things would be to get the properties posted, and I can go do that for you if you'd like. Would you like me to handle that?
Yeah, sure, that'd be fine. If you want to run over there, that's fine with me.
And how would I access the properties? is there a neighbor that has a key, or could you meet me down there as well?
Well, how long would that take?
I mean, it's only going to take like 10 minutes. I'll bring the signs and the statutes, and we can tape them in there. Okay.
Yeah, if that's not going to take long, let's do that. Let's do that next week.
Okay. If that's as soon as you can get over there, because I would really hate for you to get a squatter. That's going to be a nightmare. But as soon as you can get over there, would be the best.
Yeah, let's just do next week. We can do early next week, maybe Tuesday. All right.
Okay, Tuesday.
Let's go ahead and
I'll meet you over.
Okay, let's go ahead and break there. Assume that you
all right.
that you set a time up, because at that point everything else was just semantics. So we'll stop there and dive in. Chad, you hear any openings there that he could have taken or gone down before I chime in?
So the first thing I want to say, Mike, are you really clear on all the things you can provide? Are you confident in those things?
Well, that's what I'm putting together now. I'm definitely getting a list of people together, and I'm just trying to get all the pieces in a line. So that's one of the things
I can
I've
hear
been
that.
working on.
It was kind of a rhetorical question. So I see a lot of people struggle with this, getting clear on just all the opportunities there are to, well, first, getting empathetic to all of the potential problems a family could have. And these calls are great resources, and it's clear you've been listening because you've used some of the tactics that we suggest, right? So I would suggest you just turn everything off, maybe put music on, whatever gets you in your kind of theta state of thinking and that brain state, and just sit and contemplate everything that a family could possibly be going through. And maybe you even write those down as a list. And then in the left-hand column, it's here's the potential problem or struggle. And in the right hand, here's my solution. And maybe there's 3 columns. So problem, solution, vendor partner. And you just go down through there. And that exercise should help you really flex out all the things that you could do. And then I want you to think about each of those things and think, like, do I really believe what I'm telling people on this line item? And do I really have that solution in place, or am I 100% confident that I can get it in place and the amount of time I would need before having them over at the house? And I think that exercise is going to force you to really unpack everything in your head and be like, okay, these are the 75 most challenging scenarios that I can even imagine, and these are my 75 solutions. And I think that's going to get you there much faster. It's clear you see a lot of the value that can be brought, but you're saying the right things, not necessarily in the right order. So you came around toward the end of the conversation after lots of Bruce was very realistic in that role play. You weren't checking in with him and asking him enough questions like, can you see how that might benefit you, or can you see how that could be a big risk for the family, and getting those, like, bringing those negative emotions to the surface. So what I felt the whole time is like, damn, I want Mike to really understand what this feels like for them, because I know you would be saying different things. Like, you would be saying, well, for example, those 2 vacant properties, if someone were to break in today, considering the judicial backlogs in our market, it could take you a year to get them out. And what would the financial impact be to the family if you couldn't access the property, you couldn't sell the property, but you still had to maintain a property that someone else had possession of? What do you think that would cost you guys? And how do you think that would make everybody feel? Yeah, it's a pretty shitty situation. And all we have to do is drive over there and tape a no trespassing sign on the inside of a window with the statuette. And I have a stack right here at my desk, and I'm going out in 30 minutes. So could you meet me over there with a key, and we'll at least take care of that first? And there's your opening to have the rest of the conversation. If he commits to that right there, be like, okay, great, I'll see you in 45 minutes. And then you deal with the rest of it in person, because you're going to convert 10 times. You're 10 times more likely to convert in person to finish the conversation. So that's just one example of an opening where I saw way back in the beginning of the conversation where you could have converted that to a face-to-face appointment and finished your work once you got there. Because 2 vacant properties without insurance and without being properly posted, like that's the legitimate reason for you to be there today, to contain their risk and to cover cover any unforeseen liabilities that they don't know about, because they don't know about landlord-tenant law and squatters' rights. So I would, the biggest thing, I think that would be a totally different role play if you were really clear on the problems they have and the solutions that you have for those problems. So that's my challenge to you over the next, week or so, is sit down and really think that through and get clear on it. And then I think you'll have a whole different progression and confidence. But it's clear that you're paying attention. It's clear that you're taking this seriously. You just got to work on getting a little more confident, and then your delivery will clean itself up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, that's good, Chad. Mike, here's what I got for you. In my business, I've got a partner that makes a lot of calls, and one of the biggest things that we're constantly working on is making sure that we're gathering the appropriate amount of information before we dive into the pitch, into the appointment close. And this is just sort of an internal rule. I definitely, this is true 100% of the time, except when it's not, is what I like to say. And there are plenty of times it's not. But if you can go into every conversation looking to try to get at least 4 or 5 questions conversationally answered back to you before you close, you're gonna have a really strong foundation of rapport. And I felt like you went for a close pretty quickly before you'd built up my rapport or trust. Now, a lot of times I don't give resistance through the entire call, but I felt like you established just enough rapport to keep me on the phone, but not enough to actually turn me into putty in your hands. So if you could kind of understand, as Chad mentioned, write down those potential problems that people have and really understand what those problems are, and then just start asking questions and gathering information and writing information down. And then, once you've had a 7 or 8 or 10-minute conversation with someone, then you say, here, I understand what you're saying, and here's what I heard. So you kind of repeat back to them the answers and the information they've given you. You repeat some of it back, you summarize it, and then you say, based on that, do you mind if I tell you the steps that I'd take right now? It's going to be pretty hard for them to shoot you down at that point, because you've listened to them, you haven't tried to close them, you've come in from a place of curiosity and empathy first. And then if you say, you mind if I tell you a couple of the steps that I'd take right now? They're going to say yes. And then you just open it up and say, it sounds like the house is vacant. I think that you probably don't have vacant property insurance. I'd call your insurance agent first. And if you don't have a great insurance agent, I have a really good one I'll pass to you in just a second. And then I'd go over there and I'd post the property. I have a stack of statutes and no trespassing signs. I could meet you over there this afternoon. And then say, and while we're there, why don't we run through the house and just I'll make a list of the things that you can do today to make your process so much easier through. And I'm going to do that for you for free. I don't want to charge you, because I know that when it comes time to getting the house sold, if you're going to sell, you'll at least include me in that conversation, right?
Gotcha. So
you're leading from curiosity instead of leading and trying to work through a series of closes, because I was pretty resistant to you through each one of those closes. I was open, I was curious, but kind of resistant because you just didn't take me down that path where you're gathering information long enough.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. So, yeah. I'll try to work up some questions that I can just memorize that will help me.
Otherwise, that was a really great call. That you did good, especially for someone just coming in doing this for the first time. Better than the vast majority of people I coach with, and better than a lot of people that I coach with that are really good at this started right where you are with the same types of conversations. So the feedback that we gave you certainly, yeah, it was a little bit critical, but you're in a good place.
No, that's what I need.
And
I
Bruce,
appreciate it, Bruce.
Can you guys hear me okay now? Yeah,
Yep.
I was going to, I would echo what both of them said, and I was going to say the same thing. Even though the confidence level could have been higher, in every case, I felt like it was a really very realistic role play on both sides. And you fairly smoothly got to the appointment. So you completed the objective. You did something very right there. It's funny, in the beginning, I was feeling a little bit of lack of confidence when you were trying to come up with an answer to his objections, and that would have been a real good place to have maybe the seller interview sheet in front of you and ask a question to give you time to gather the confidence and come up with a better answer. I would say one thing I find kind of interesting, though. Through all of that, even when you become more confident, you have kind of a aw shucks sort of mannerism that comes across very well, in my opinion. You don't come across at all like a fast talking, slick salesperson. So even when you become
more threatened at all.
That's exactly it. Yeah, so that keep that same mannerism and match and mirror people like Bruce. Bruce was kind of slow, and you were kind of laid back, and you did a really good job with that. You came across the opposite of a fast talking salesperson. So I think you did a lot right, man. Great job.
And if you want to really take it to the next level, like, I'm actually from Boston. I worked 10 years to get this accent. I'm not actually from West Virginia. It just serves me well. I'm just kidding. But yeah, you do
I'm originally
have
from
a good
Indiana, so I guess that's where
you do have a good demeanor, and it's calming. And I just want to back up, like, so what Bruce said was pretty much the advice that was hiding in mine. Like, I think the advice that Bruce gave you, I feel like that will fall in place once you really feel confident in what you're offering. And I do agree with Jim. Having the probate seller interview sheet in front of you is just kind of a guideline, just a rough outline, is really good. So,
yeah, and I've only been in real estate like 3 months, so I'm not even that good on the phones with any other lead source. So it's all
okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you, at the 3-month mark, you would be kicking my ass. So you got a lot to look forward to.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, buddy. Great job. Thank you. We only have one other person in the queue, guys. Don't be shy. Hit *6 and hit 1. Otherwise, we've got time for another long role play. Next up is phone number ending in 9728. You're up next.
Hey, guys. Dan Wingard here from the Seattle area, Washington.
Hey, Dan.
Dan.
Hey there. I'd like to do the same. I'm new at the probate. I'm still understanding the process. So there may be some issues as far as just being confident as far as how I can serve. I've been in real estate a long time. And I love the advice as far as just problem, solution, vendor, getting that through. But I think the same role play is just practicing that call.
Awesome.
You guys there?
Who wants to?
Bruce, you want to take it?
Sure. Dan, you good with me?
I think so.
Let's do it. All right.
And by the way, Bruce,
start by ring.
No, I just wanted to say I've had the privilege of speaking with Bruce just a couple of times and great value each conversation. So I want to encourage anybody that's not reaching out for coaching to get after it.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
All right, I'll let you start. Hello?
Hello, is Bruce there?
Yeah, this is Bruce. Who's this?
Hi, Bruce. My name's Dan Wingard. I sent a letter last week, and I just wanted to take a chance to follow up, make sure you got it. I'm a guide for families that are going through the probate process, and just wanted to see if you got that, and do you have any questions?
Dan, I think I got your letter. I got to tell you, man, you guys, you people, you hit me too much. I feel like I'm just getting chased down. Everybody just wants my money right now.
Yeah, well, if you have some, are you handing it out?
What, my money?
Yeah, I just wanted to check. That'd be great, but that's not the reason for my call. Hey, listen,
okay.
no, we help families that are going through this, and I'm just, we just want to check in and see how you're doing, and if there's some resources that we can provide to help you get through, so you're not actually you're saving money and not making sure you're not throwing away. And I'll just tell you, we do, as a service, we go to the courthouse and we get this, and it sounds like some other folks have done that as well. But we're sincerely here to help. So where are you at with the process now? Have you submitted paperwork to the courthouse? Or?
Yeah, I turned everything into the courthouse, and I was going down to meet with my lawyer tomorrow.
Oh, okay. And so letters of testamentary, you haven't received those yet. You're just in the beginning process, it sounds like, huh?
Yeah, I think so. He told me that we had a court date, but I'm not sure when it is right now.
Okay. Are you clear about the whole process yet? Some people don't even know which ends up at this point. Do you have a checklist, anything like that?
Well, no, I just figured that my attorney was going to handle everything for me. So we should be pretty good. But no, I don't understand the process. That's why I'm meeting with my attorney tomorrow.
Got it. So meeting with the attorney, well, what we found is that the attorney certainly is a good start, and some people don't even get that far as a checklist, but there's kind of the conception that the attorney takes care of everything, and what I can provide for you is just a checklist to make sure that everything's taken care of, and this can actually, again, save you a lot of money. Just make sure you're not missing some things that could really cause some hardship. And then also some questions to ask of your attorney to make sure your attorney's taking good care of you. Would that be helpful?
Yeah. I think that'd be fine. You have that? Is it online somewhere, or how do I get that?
Yeah, it's certainly online. We've got trustedprobatepartners.com. You can go there. But if you give me your email, I'll be glad to send that to you. And let me ask you, so I am a real estate broker, and I'm also an investor, and so I look at real estate properties, and we can provide a value for it. So that's one of the things your attorney is likely going to ask you is, what's the value of your property? Do you have any real estate in the estate that you know of?
Yeah, we got a lot and 2 houses. My sister's living in one of the houses, and we have a renter in the other.
Okay. Would you like to ideally keep them there, or what are your thoughts at this point, or what does the estate think of all of that?
No, I think if I could get my sister out, but I don't even want to fight that battle. We're going to keep the investment, and we got to talk about what to do with the house she's living in. I don't know. I think I just want to get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't need to get into details right now of everything, but it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate. And maybe the best thing to do is just to take a look at one of your properties, or set up a time to take a look, give you a value. And we've got some strategies for really helping to make things look the best for your family. If people getting out of the properties are the best, maybe have a powwow about that. And we can help guide you through that. So I've got some time this afternoon, or maybe even later this week, to meet at one of the properties. Would that be helpful for you?
So let me be clear on what you're offering. Are you trying to sell the properties, or what are you offering here?
Well, if that's a scenario that would serve the estate best, I certainly am an expert in getting folks the most for their properties. That's a part of what I do. But what I've done is I've created a team of experts in each area to make sure families are really well taken care of through this whole process. And I've had a situation with my dad, and I understand the pain, and I understand that a lot of people just don't know what's going on. And so I find if we can help, there's always opportunities. I am an investor as well, so sometimes it makes sense for people to get cash quickly for a property, or if they put it on the market, making sure they're not just hiring any real estate agent, they're hiring an agent that's familiar with the whole probate process, so everything goes smoothly and they get the most for it. And there's several options there that we can provide in that aspect. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm up to.
I don't even know if we're going to sell or not yet. I mean, I'd like to, but I think my sister is going to have something else to say about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I can appreciate that, and like I said, it may not be in your best interest to sell these properties, and maybe it is. And when you have everything on the table and you can look at the values and maybe give some time for your family to discuss it, there's also possibilities of, if you do plan on selling the property, to invest in other areas, or that the estate can actually make money from this whole situation. So the best thing to do is to get together, maybe yourself, your sister, and talk about the possibilities. And there's no obligation as far as working with me and getting this done. But I will tell you, I've got the checklist for you. I can give you some guidance as far as the next steps, and you can decide from there whether we're a good fit to move forward.
Okay. That sounds fair. That sounds fair.
Yeah. And now, are you and your sister available this week, or?
I hadn't talked to her for a couple of months.
Okay.
So I don't know if she's available. I could do that. I could meet this week, though.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it would be better. If she is available, you can let her know that it's no obligation to meet. Sounds like there might be one of my counselor associates to get involved here. I'm not sure, but hopefully things will pan out there. But if we can provide you some value, maybe there's something you can present to your sister that will help ease things and put things in a better light to move forward.
All right, I guess that'll work. I'll meet you over there this week. I don't know if I want to involve her yet.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like there's still some hesitation with you. Anything there that I can address?
No, I mean, I just don't know if we're going to sell the property or not.
Sure.
I'd like to, but I'm going to have a big battle with her. So I'm happy to meet probably at our rental. I got to let my tenants know. And she'll be home. I just don't know if we're ready to see each other just yet.
Yeah. Well, just to be clear, a part of my service is to help you through the process, whether you're interested in selling your property or not.
Okay.
We've got resources for it.
How's that? I mean, I thought that's what my attorney was doing.
Yeah, a lot of people do think that the attorney's going to take care of everything. And when I share the list and we talk about the whole process, you'll see that there's a lot of things that they're not responsible for at all that could actually get your family in a place where I don't think you want to go, and that financially it might hurt you also. Okay.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, I'm curious to see what the list is like. So I can do later this week or next week. I'm wide open.
Okay, let's do Friday at 3 o'clock, and then I will email you that list. What's your email address again? Or I guess you didn't give it to me, did you?
Yep, it's Bruce@123.com.
All right, Bruce. Well, I really look forward to meeting with you there. And if you have any questions between now and then, my number is 206-501-9728. Don't hesitate to reach out. I'll also text you my info. And if for some reason the email doesn't come through, you'll have my info.
All right, Dan, we'll break it there. Good job, man. Chad threw me off when he said great answer. That'll throw anybody off. Have you ever used that before?
No, I mean, it's just kind of what came to mind in the moment, so I don't know that I'd have that written down. But
every now and then, if somebody gives some resistance, it's good to hit them with something like that, because I really honestly had no idea how to respond, because I was just gonna just going to be an absolute jerk for the first several minutes, and you took the wind right out of my sails there. I'll go back to something I said to Mike on the last call. Is I do feel like that you could information gather a little bit more. I know you're trying to be respectful of family dynamics, but as you information gather, a lot of times you're going to get some things, and then you're going to get some info that you can fold back on the person later in the conversation. So you're gathering information, and then you can use that information to actually kind of give them a little bit of a reality check, or kind of pull some pain outside of that information. So my pain point was clearly my sister relationship and that family dynamic. Mm-hmm. And you gathered the information, but you could have kind of folded that back on itself and not trying to highlight pain. Well, I don't want to say that. Actually, you are trying to highlight pain. Not trying to stir the pot, but actually ask just an open-ended question and see where I run with it and find out truly what you're dealing with and what my motivations are and what the sister's motivations are. So there was a really big door there that I left open that like you could have gathered more information on. Yeah. And what do I want to do? Good. So you could have you could have said, okay, what do you want to do with the house? And I know I alluded to the fact that I'd like to get rid of it, but you could have asked what that means to me. So what could that mean for you? What could it do for you? What's it mean? Does that mean that you'd like to list it on the open market for top value, or are you just done? You ready to get out? What's your sister think? Okay. Well, I hadn't talked to my sister for a while. Okay. What if you had to guess? What do you think she's thinking? Okay. Kind of draw some of that out. We could have spent another 5 minutes on family dynamics there and really shown you some motivation or lack of motivation that could help you when talking to the sister and help you when talking to me in the future. Yeah. But otherwise, really good job. Really good job. Use the you disarmed me perfectly.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it.
Jim? Chad?
So first I want to compliment your demeanor, and don't change that because it's going to serve you. You never, your emotional, like your level of emotion didn't fluctuate at all, even with hard objections. Your delivery of humor was fantastic. Like, that's exactly how you break somebody's pattern and get them back on their heels. And even though we were joking and I jumped in, like, it was too good not to for me. But, like, even in a role play, like, you screwed up Bruce's whole role play plan because, you know, even though he's a coach and he knows where this is going, he's not immune to his own psychology. So there's little things like that. You can be abrupt and hit them with things like, actually, did you know about the squatter laws in King County? God knows we have enough homeless people looking for places to live. You can be more abrupt on the negative end of the spectrum, but you took it the humor route. You get the same result. So you're stirring, you're shocking their nervous system and kind of like, whoa, I didn't know. Like, so you get them out of that pattern of behavior. So really great job on that. I saw so many opportunities where you gathered enough information that you didn't use to what I believe to be the full extent of your skill set. So you're an investor and you're a broker. You did tell us that. And you found a good reason to, like, I love how you identified the attorney appointment and you started to support them immediately without trying to serve yourself. You're like, how can I help you get prepared for that appointment? And offering them a market valuation was, or, you know, an asset valuation was a good offer. But as an investor, you missed a couple of opportunities. One is, well, you know, what if you kept both as rental properties? And the possibility there is you go in as a cash buyer, buy the house with the sister in place, and either she starts paying you rent or the family uses her equity money to pay rent. Like, maybe it gets escrowed. You never know where that might go. The other part of that, like in that particular one, there was two opportunities with the sister that Bruce showed you. One opportunity was to show them really multiple. So one, you could have gotten them over to a property manager. and helped with the one rental property. And then the sister, you could talked about, some of your social programs, like your access to social workers, and how it's a very common scenario, and part of your process is to make sure that everybody has a safe, secure place to live before anyone sells anything, because family is first, and we're focused on people. We are real estate professionals, but not when it comes to displacing people. We have a big enough problem with that in King County, especially in Seattle City. Wouldn't you agree? And you make it local, and you get that affirmation. So you show them that you are aware, like you're navigating their emotional challenges with them. So you could have helped get a property manager for the current rental property. You could have helped get a social worker for the sister. You could have made an offer for the home that the sister lived in and proposed to him, like, what if she actually sold her shares and then leased it back? Well, what do you mean? What's that look like? Well, actually, let me tell you about one we did that way. And that gives you an opportunity, like you can really flex your creativity and show them that if they have talked to anyone else, they're on the phone with a different cat now, right? Right. So there's things I would ask you to go back and listen to this and know that I'm being critical of you, but because you're here to get better, you're doing most things correctly. But make sure, just like I told Mike, like really think about all the things your skill set can do to help these families. Like, I know I've already generated your gears are bound to be turning, and you're like, oh man, yeah, I could do this, or that, right? But as you gather that information, put the solution in place. And Bruce kind of corrected himself, but absolutely, you need to think of it as a snow globe. So they've done nothing. They're sitting there in probate quicksand saying everything's handled, my attorney's got it. You need to grab that snow globe and shake it up and get everything up in the air, and then let things settle back in and into your solution. So stir up their emotions, but don't leave them that way. Like you stir up an emotion, and then you become the solution, and then you stir up another one and become the solution. And when you do this, they get to a point where they're like, why the hell would I not want to meet with this guy? He just solved all my biggest problems, and I've been struggling with this for weeks. They're not going to say that, but they're thinking that, I promise you. But you did a good job gathering information. You just need to take it, a little bit further and actually give them the solution. And there are a couple good examples of where you did do that, but there's some where you left opportunities where I think it would have been a shorter conversation with a firmer commitment had you done some of those things a little bit differently. But great job overall.
Yeah, we have one more person in the queue, but I have three quick observations. And more overall observations, do you have money you're giving away? If so, I'll be glad to take it. It's probably the best. That's the quickest, most clever response I've ever heard. And it was obvious that it was spontaneous. So I would just say keep that spontaneous sense of humor you have and use it in every situation like that you come across. So that was awesome. One other thing I noticed, we teach people to ask a question and then shut up, be quiet. You were very good at making statements and then just not following it up with chatter, letting him speak next. That's something that most people can't do. They'll make a statement and then they get uncomfortable with a little bit of silence. You were really good at making your statement or asking your question, mostly statement, and then just letting him respond. And finally, at the very end there, you are a very good listener because you detected the hesitation in his voice, and you had the appointment. You could have just let him hang up, but you kind of detected there was something there, and there was probably a pretty good chance he was going to cancel the appointment. So you expressed what you heard, and he really didn't say much, but you kind of allowed him to confirm the appointment before you got off the phone. So really, really, really good job of listening. But, you're going to do great with this. That was an excellent role play. Good, very, very good job. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, guys.
All right. We have one more in the queue. Do we have time, guys?
I do.
You okay, Chad? Bruce? Okay. Let's last one up.
I do have a 3 o'clock, Bruce. I'm going to let you guys handle it. Thank you guys for being here.
We just lost him. So the guy in the queue left while I was summarizing. So, yeah, go ahead if you need to, and I'll just wrap up, Chad. But
okay.
I want to end. Yeah, thank you. Talk to you later. I want to end this call. Bruce, anything you want to say to summarize? I always end the calls with the same ending. But anything you want to say? Oh.
Well, I said it a couple of times on today's role play calls, but information gather, and don't be scared to allow people to take it into deep places. Our job is to listen and draw information out, and then sell or close off of the information that we're able to gather. So if you guys can sit down and actually go through those probate questions, or list out your own probate questions, and just be able to grab some of those through a little bit of foresight. Sit down, list them out. Maybe you list 5 questions out, 10 questions out, 20, and be able to kind of plug and play those based on how the conversation's going. It's going to serve you very well, and you're going to be able to close a lot better as well when you've gathered information through the conversation.
Well said, and I'll end this call like I always do. I promise you this isn't a recording, but I really think it's important to thank each and every one of you for being here. I want to particularly thank the 2 gentlemen that actively participated. Great job to both of you. And I want to challenge each of you, take one thing, one idea, maybe Dan's joke, one thing you heard on this call that inspired you. Go out and put it into practice. And please come back and share your results with the group. We will talk to you guys in less than 24 hours at 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. Stay healthy, guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.